Good evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Friday, March 4th, 2022. I am Timothy Jaikaran. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. President Ali lobbies Central America to support CARICOM'S agricultural agenda. GECOM employee files $175 million lawsuit against Guyana Police Force for false arrest. 4-year-old perishes in TUCVILLE fire. PPP a firm believer in shared governance, says Vice President JAGDEO. Queen's College aiming to cop all CXC awards, says HM. Man shot to death at BARAMITA. Now for the news in detail. Outlining the potential and capability within Central America, President Dr. Irfan Ali on Thursday called on countries from that region to support the Caribbean community's agricultural agenda in order to strengthen the agri-food systems and enhance food security in this hemisphere. Vanu Manichan has the details in this report.
President Ali made this plea while addressing regional leaders during the 4th CARICOM Central American Integration System Summit that was held in Belize. The one-day engagement followed the 33rd CARICOM Heads of Government Intersessional Meeting, during which the Guyanese leader presented an action-oriented and solutions-based proposal that aims at reducing the Caribbean's US $5 billion food import bill by 25% by 2025. As such, President Ali told leaders at Thursday's joint summit that CARICOM's ambitious agenda is targeting the transformation of the regional agriculture sector. Hence, cooperation and collaboration are key to achieving this.
Work with us on how we can employ the technology and the resources and mobilize the expertise in advancing this agenda of CARICOM.
The Guyanese head of state went on to outline the agricultural capability that currently exists among CECOM member states alone, including Guatemala, Honduras, and Costa Rica.
Central America as a whole contributes half of the total value of the region exports in agriculture and food production. What this tells us? This tells us that the solution to food security and sustainability lies right in this room. What we require is the commitment and joint approach in addressing food security in the region.
To this end, the Guyanese president on Thursday proposed a joint meeting between the Central American Agriculture Council and the ministerial task force established by CARICOM. He also invited the Central American nations to participate in the Regional Agriculture Investment Conference slated for May 19 to 21st in Guyana.
The areas that you have competitive advantage in are almost identical areas we have identified in CARICOM to boost production and improve competitiveness. So this is a low-hanging fruit, very, very low-hanging fruit, in which we can bring real benefit, real results, and show the population of a region that we are not only in prolonged dialogue and conversation, but here is it that as a joint region, we are prepared to put up an actionable timetable that we are going to open ourselves to accountability to the people in achieving the integration that food security and agriculture can bring for us.
Meanwhile, during the two-day intersessional meeting, President Ali had come in for high praises from his CARICOM colleagues for driving the region's transformational agricultural agenda. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manichan.
Here is Vanu Manichan once again, this time to report that Vice President Dr. JAGDEO has contended that the People's Progressive Party Civic Administration believes in shared governance, but noted that the Partnership for National Unity Alliance for Change opposition is serious about working with the government. Then, it needs to adhere to basic democratic principles.
A USAID report released last month stated, among other things, that the major political parties in Guyana need to devise a way to form a functioning democracy based on power sharing rather than a winner-takes-all mentality. But during a recent interview with a social media commentator, Vice President JAGDEO posited that this is nothing that the PPPC government has not already committed to.
Now, the USAID report is not saying anything that we have not said publicly about inclusive governance. We in the People's Progressive Party have been talking about this. We have lived this. We passed a constitution that promoted inclusive governance to its features. So I'm sure if USAID read our manifesto, they were just repeating what we have in our manifesto, the constitutional reform to look at our governance model. And secondly, to look at also at management of electoral systems. Those were the two major things that we promised, but more so on the governance model. So I don't see anything strange. President Biden calls for inclusive governance, and this is generally the case. We said that before. The US government is not offending us or directing us for doing something that we've already called for, generally.
However, the Vice President stressed that there must be some changes before the PPPC government can work with the coalition opposition.
And said that if APNU wants to engage seriously, they have to move away from racism and they have to commit to democracy, because that party has a major problem with democracy. It grew up on a history of stealing elections, and then they try to do that again. And they're still not committed, I believe, to a democratic country. They would speak the rhetoric of democracy.
JAGDEO's position came on the heels of the 2-year anniversary of the historic March 2nd, 2020 general and regional elections, which was followed by the 5-month political impasse after blatant attempts were made to rig the polls. It was only after intense pushback from local stakeholders, as well as the regional and international community, that democracy prevailed and the PPPC was sworn into office in August 2020. Reporting for the Evening News, Fanu Manakchand.
Queen's College is aiming to secure all 8 top awards for both CSEC and CAPE in the upcoming examinations, a bar that has been set high after its students topped both levels for the past 2 consecutive years. Rupasina Ryan has details in this report.
For both 2020 and 2021, Queen's College would have produced the most outstanding student for both the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate and the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination. On Friday, a celebratory exercise was organized at the institution to recognize this achievement, where Principal Candace Cave Stephen underscored that this performance can be improved. The agenda has already been set to acquire all 8 awards at the CXC level.
It's something historic for us, the fact that we've gotten both in 2 years, consecutive years, and it means a really great lot to us. So we intend to continue that good work and improve it. Our aim right now is to get more of the awards. Of the 8 awards at the Cape CSEC level, it is our intention to cap all 8. We've never done that.
Meanwhile, Education Minister Priya Manik-Chand said government is fulfilling its contribution to the sector with the supply of adequate human resources, equipment and technology throughout public schools.
This system is at a place right now, the education system where all we have to do is commit ourselves, each of us, to making our children's lives better. And in doing that, I am absolutely certain we are going to be able to realize for every single child in this college, and indeed across Guyana, their very best potential.
The Education Ministry is also working to equalize the playing field at the secondary level, eliminating any disadvantage which currently exists for students to excel in the various examinations. Rupasina Ryan, The Evening News.
Guyana Elections Commission employee Michelle Miller, who was arrested in relation to investigations into the alleged fraud committed at the March 2020 national elections, has filed a lawsuit against the Guyana Police Force. Against the Commissioner of Police, she is seeking more than $175 million in damages, arguing that she was falsely arrested. This, she contends, breached her constitutional rights. Her lawyers are UC Anderson, Quan Rodney, and Esther Osborne. Apart from monetary awards for breach of her constitutional rights, Miller is also asking the court for several declarations against the police commissioner and the Attorney General in his capacity as representative of the state. In October 2020, Miller was charged with 2 counts of conspiracy to defraud during the March 2020 elections when she appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court. She was released on $60,000 bail pending her trial. A fire suspected to be electrical in origin has completely destroyed the upper flat of a 2-story wooden and concrete building at Princess Street, Georgetown on Thursday. In this report, you will hear that hundreds of thousands of dollars in valuables went up in flames.
That is what is left of the upper flat of the lot 61 Princess Street, Georgetown home after the flames on Thursday. The fire reportedly started just after 15 hours. When the Evening News visited the home on Friday, the occupant of the upper flat of the building, Mark Williams, said he is the caretaker of the home. The owners, he stated, reside overseas. The man said that the house is occupied by him and another person.
Well, I was at work at the time when I received the message. My daughter, who lives in the same street, not too far, observed there was movements, and when she looked up the road, she saw the fire, and she ran down the road because I live there around the area, so she ran up the road and she observed that it was this lot that your father lived was on fire. So she immediately gave me a call at work, so I had to try and get off from the job to get here.
Williams added that by the time he arrived at the location, the fire was already put out by the firefighters. Based on the investigation, the fire might have started due to the constant power outages on Thursday.
What they investigated and observed that the fire, it started from the fridge, which was the only thing that was on, and there was a problem with the GPL current at the set whereby the lights was off almost all day. All morning I leave like just after 12 to run on the road because I had to go to work for 3. Came in back just about 2, the lights was on, so I plug back on the fridge, and I get out at 2:30. Well, from my daughter and another source, the lights did came off again around the time and came on back. This is when all these problems came, because they have other people in this said street area that had a problem whereby they find the fridge smoking. The girl over there said she or microwave it burned. Somebody else fan it burned.
As a result of the fire, he has suffered lots of losses and is unaware of whether the property was insured. The house was recently constructed. Reporting for the Evening News, Lawanda McAllister.
Let's now tell you that a 4-year-old boy perished on Friday last after a fire destroyed the TUCVILLE squatting area Georgetown home. The child has been identified only as Jamel. Based on reports received, the child and 2 other siblings were at home when the fire started. His 2 other siblings managed to escape, but he was reportedly trapped in the inferno. Though details on the fire and the child's death are sketchy, when the evening news visited the area on Friday, the house was completely gutted. The story came to light after a plea for assistance was issued by a social media comedian. However, when contacted, the Guyana Fire Service said it was unaware of the fatal fire and promised that an investigation would be launched. Coming up, persons must report all functions to police even with curfew lifted, and man chopped to death at BARAMITA.
John Lewis Styles introduces Eddie Domani Vertical Sport and Alberto Cardinale, a line of very affordable men's clothing especially suited for the workplace. Get polos from $2,800, dress shirts from $3,995, shirt jacks from $5,500, and even jeans and dress pants from $5,995. We can supply large companies with special sizes and colors upon request. Come visit us on Waterloo Street and ask for a quotation. Umbrellas, computer bags, footwear, and women's workwear are also available. John Lewis Styles, simply different.
In addition to 2% royalty, did you know that Ghana earns 50% of the profits from oil production? More than any one of the Stabroek Block co-venturers, ExxonMobil, Hess, and Sinnock. And by 2026, the government is expected to export 50 million barrels of oil per year, which can earn as much as $4 billion US.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Satco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store, located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rheinveld.
It happens. Your septic tank is full. All the waste from your toilet goes into your septic tank through the sewage line. When your tank is full, the two most common indicators are an overflowing tank and an overflowing toilet. It is recommended that Sevon's Waste Management empty your septic tank every 2 to 3 years to avoid any embarrassment. And before you can say, shh, it's gone. Call Sevon's Waste Management today at 218-1455 or 218-1156.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. Commander of Regional Division 3, Senior Superintendent Errol Watts, has reminded that persons who are holding functions, whether private or public, on their premises still must report same to the nearest police station, as required by law. Amar Prasad has the details.
This was echoed by the commander during a recent Guyana Police Force social media program.
Under the Music and Dancing License Act, Chapter 2303, any function, even those premises that are licensed, they have to notify the nearest police station of their intention to hold a function. And having notified the police 24 hours before, the police has a responsibility to monitor those functions to ensure the maintenance of law and order.
He stated that even if persons are given the permission by the magistrate to hold functions, police still have the right to monitor the function and stop it if persons are not complying with the law. The commander noted that some areas are prohibited for keeping certain functions, while noting that in some residential areas, people must conduct themselves in a civilized manner.
Those persons who feel that they can gather on the road or in some creek or in some place and just play music and have and imbibe they are wrong. Those things are not prohibited and are not allowed, they're prohibited. And that is part of the police function to regulate every activity in the country. They should not be drinking and driving. They should not be playing loud music in areas where residential areas, to the annoyance of persons, because this affects persons mentally and otherwise. And it's one's right to enjoy themselves, but at the same time, not at the expense of another. So people need to be civil in their approaches to entertainment. We have no problem with how persons behave within their confines of their home without disturbing another. But when you come to public entertainment, you have to conduct yourself in a manner that is within the legal framework.
Commander Watts also stated that for those persons who are holding large functions or activities in areas like the national park, with the necessary permission granted, must ensure that they operate with proper capacity according to the size of the venue as outlined in the National COVID-19 Gazette.
During the promotion of the activity, persons are told early to make their purchases of tickets early, and when the ticket sale reaches the authorized number at the national park, the selling of those tickets should be ceased so that we not have confusion. Those persons who are turning up to go to the function without buying tickets in advance should be spoken to also in a public notice, and there should be systems in place to have them go to the respective one and don't gather around the place, just to ensure the maintenance of law and order.
For the evening news, Amar Prasad.
As Guyana joined the rest of the world in celebrating World Obesity Day, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony encouraged Guyanese to maintain good health practices such as healthy eating and constant exercise. Once again, here is Amar Prasad.
Minister Anthony on Friday explained that obesity can lead to a chain of other health-related illnesses.
Well, it's good that the WHO would have designated today as World Obesity Day. And it's really important because we know that obesity is a risk factor for many other diseases. So it would increase persons' risk of dying early, so premature deaths. And it's a contributor to a number of diseases such as cardiovascular diseases, dyslipidemia, diabetes, for example. And as you're aware, we have in Guyana a lot of persons who would suffer from what we termed as chronic non-communicable diseases. And therefore, obesity is really a risk factor for many of these diseases.
He stated that persons should keep track of their weight by conducting regular body mass index checks in order to avoid becoming obese.
BMI really is a body mass index, and it's defined as your weight in kilogram divided by your height in square meters. And so when you do that calculation, you'll get a number. Now, depending on what that number is, you can basically be classified in different categories. So you can have someone with a normal body weight, you can have somebody who is overweight, and an overweight person would have a BMI of somewhere between 25 to 29.9 kilogram per square meter. An obese person is defined as someone with a BMI of greater than 30 kilogram per meter square. And a severely obese person is one that would have a BMI of greater than 40 kilogram per meter square.
The minister also noted that obese persons that contract COVID-19 are at higher risk of being hospitalized by the disease.
If you're obese, then you have more than likely, you have the comorbidities that we keep talking about. You're probably hypertensive as well. You might be having diabetes. And so because of these comorbidities, we have been seeing people with comorbidities having a more severe form of COVID, a lot of them requiring hospitalization. And in some cases, when they're hospitalized, they would also, in some cases end up in the ICU. So again, it is important for persons to start monitoring their BMI levels.
Meanwhile, health officials are currently monitoring 342 active cases across the country. 23 new cases have been recorded within the last 24-hour period. Further information from Dr. Anthony revealed that 433,497, or 84.5% of the adult population, have received the first dose of the COVID vaccines, while 330,026, or 64.3%, have received the second dose of the COVID vaccines. For the 12 to 17 age group, 33,661, or 46.2%, have received the first dose of the Pfizer vaccines, while 24,373, or 33.4%, have received both doses. In terms of booster doses, 51,925 persons have received their jabs. For the evening news, Amar Prasad.
Agents of the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit on Monday intercepted 2 males with 2.330 kg of cocaine between Ruby East Bank, Essequibo, and Denamstel, West Coast, Demerara. Kanu has said that on the day in question, officers conducted an operation in Region 3 District, during which Ian Griffith, 45, of North East La Penitence, Georgetown, was intercepted with 2 parcels of suspected cocaine. He was arrested and taken to the Kanu headquarters, along with the suspected narcotics, which subsequently tested positive as cocaine. It was weighed in his presence and amounted to 2.330 kg, which has a street value of 2.6 million. Guyanese fashion icon and designer Sonia Noel will soon launch her first ever furniture line, I Am. On Thursday, our reporter Shane Marks had a sneak peek into the collection and filed this report.
The fashionista will be hosting a preview of what the new business venture has to offer to various friends throughout the weekend. Noelle is currently celebrating 25 years in the fashion industry, and she wants to try something different for this milestone.
I started actually seriously, because I thought about it last year, but seriously thinking about it in January. That, you know what, I'm going to launch it just also not just for the 25 years, but Women's Month also, because we're celebrating Women's Month. And I said, this was a great way to celebrate Women's Month, doing something new that I've never done. So it's my 25 years and also Women's Month.
The I Am Furniture collection features pieces of furniture that are infused with abstract paintings. Noelle encourages women who are serious about entrepreneurship to never give up.
Entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart, because you are going to have days you don't feel like getting out of bed. Entrepreneurship, and that's why you have to have a level of confidence to really persevere, because along the way, trust me, you're going to get hit down, sometimes harder than you want to. But when you are passionate and when you have that passion and you know that this is one of the reasons I was created, you get it back with a tenacity. So I would like to tell you, don't give up. There are going to be times, I'm telling you, 25 years in fashion and in entrepreneurship, it has not been easy, but it has been worth it, because on those bad days, those are the days you look for the silver lining, because you don't grow out in your comfort zone. You have to feel uncomfortable to grow. So those days when you feel more uncomfortable, you thank God for that. These days and say, look, what is the lesson in this? I'm coming out of this victorious because there's something in here for me to learn. So don't give up.
Noelle also shared that part of the proceeds from the line will go to the Sonia Noelle Foundation. The I Am collection will officially launch at the Women's Business Expo on March 30th and March 31st at the Pegasus Hotel. Shane Marks, Evening News.
A businessman was taken into custody following the discovery of the lifeless body of a male at BARAMITA Line Northwest District on Thursday in front of his shop. The identity of the man has not been confirmed. Upon discovery, it was observed that the man's body bore several deep wounds to the left side face and head. Based on reports received, on the day in question, at about 7 hours, a report was made at the BARAMITA police station, and upon arriving at the location, police ranks picked up the man and took him to the BARAMITA Health Center, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. The body was thereafter taken to the Port Kaituma Hospital mortuary to await a post-mortem. Police have since taken the owner of the shop into custody as they make efforts to locate the two individuals with whom the now dead man was last seen. And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Saturday, March 5th, 2022 at 4 hours for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Saturday, March 5th, 2022 at 5 hours 50 for a period of 1.5 hours.
Shane Warne, Australia's legendary leg spinner, dies, and Matthew's majestic century leads Windies to win in World Cup opener. Details of these stories and more in the Sportscast sponsored by Macorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
American-made Generac pressure washers from Sylvie's Variety Store gives you the power you need to blast away dirt and grime. Providing the perfect cleaning power for any tough jobs around the house or business. From 2,500 to 4,000 PSI. So get the Generac pressure washer today with all the parts and accessories available from Sylvie's Variety Store.
Ultra Lubricants, the leading lubricants for tropical conditions, has been serving you for over 40 years, extending the life cycle of your vehicle's engine by protecting it from wear and corrosion, removes impurities, and reducing frequent vehicle oil changes. Ultra Lubricants is for every market, from two-wheel light vehicle to trucks, construction, agriculture equipment, mining activities, and boating. Ultra Lubricants, world-class lubricants for tropical conditions. Distributed by Industrial Supply of Guyana, Inc. and available nationwide.